Hello, wonderful person. Wish you a very good health. E is equal to mc squared. This was one of the world's greatest scientists, Einstein's precursor to his General Theory of Relativity, that describes how mass affects space and time, which are fundamentally interconnected. It is a theory not only of curved space, but of curved or warped time as well. The big question that physicists have been pondering for decades is, can space and time warp so dramatically that certain points in time touch or overlap, making time travel possible? The following story of Santiago Flight 513 was an intriguing piece of story that highlights our fascination with the idea of time warps. The story of the puzzling incident that allegedly happened to Santiago Flight 513 between 1954 and 1989 has been making rounds among the believers of the supernatural for decades now, and still, people aren't sure of what to make of it. Once again, welcome to Mystery TV 9. According to an article published by Tabloid Weekly World News in 1989, Santiago Airlines Flight 513 took off on September 4th, 1954 from Aachen, West Germany, and was scheduled to arrive in Porto Alegre, Brazil, 18 hours later. However, the aeroplane simply disappeared mid-flight over the Atlantic Ocean. At the time of the disappearance, authorities believed that the plane had crashed, and for the years to follow, multiple search parties were formed in order to look out for the remains of the passengers or the plane, but nothing was found. Time went by, and decades passed. Santiago Airlines had already run out of business. In 1956, just 2 years after the alleged disappearance, and after failing to find even a single trace of evidence of a plane crash, the search was called off. The story becomes even more fascinating when the missing flight allegedly reappears and circles the airport of Porto Alegre, Brazil, on October 12, 1989, and lands with 92 skeletons on board. The authorities said that the control tower had no communication with the missing plane that apparently circled the airport area. When the plane finally landed, the airport authorities approached the plane cautiously. They opened the doors from the outside, and what they say chilled their bones to the core when they found 92 perfectly preserved skeletons of the people on board. 88 passengers and 4 crew members safely buckled into their seats. When they opened the cockpit doors, they saw that the plane's pilot, Captain Miguel Victor Curry, also in a skeletal form. The more strange scene was that of the skeletonized pilot, Captain Miguel Victor Curry, who was sitting in the intact position and was still apparently clutching the controls. They also noted that the plane was still idling, but strangely, officials had refused to comment on reappearance of the missing Santiago Flight 513 when contacted. They also didn't conclude where the plane had been for the intervening 35 years. No sooner had the gruesome discovery been made, explanations and theories were proposed and debated. Among these was the rather obvious theory of a hoax or urban legend. At least one researcher into the realm of paranormal events went on record to declare that the only possible explanation that fits all of the reported details is that the aircraft utilized a time warp. However, Dr. Celso Adelo was unable to explain the reduction of all on board to a skeletal state, nor could he adequately fathom how the skeleton captain could have possibly landed the plane. Officials from the Brazilian government did investigate the circumstances of the flight, but outright refused to be drawn on any conclusions or any aspects of the investigation as a whole. Aviation officials only confirmed that the aircraft appeared out of thin air and landed safely. They felt that the government had a duty to reveal what they knew. The debate over what happened took on a whole new outlook when the perceived secrecy behind the investigation angered many, including Dr. Adelo. Researchers made numerous calls to the government and asked them to allow civilians to assist in the ongoing investigation. Other academics and dignitaries were quick to jump on the bandwagon and insisted that the public had a right to know what was going on. Retired physics professor Rodrigo believed that it was a crime against science to withhold any known information, no matter what it was. He stated, "If this plane did enter a time warp and there is evidence to prove it, the entire world should be told. Something like this could change the way we see the world and alter science as we know it. In this world, there are hundreds of places where aircraft, ships, boats, or even people go missing without any traces. Many intellectuals believe that those places unpredictably create some kinds of time portals called vortex. Vortex is said to be a result of the parallel universe. According to this theory, vortex opens on another world. A parallel world consists of antimatter and that can absorb people, masses, or even light and time. To say people gone missing in this world actually reach another world within seconds. In this world, there are many such places, but especially the Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Sea Zone, and the Michigan Triangle are the ones notoriously famous for such unexplained phenomenon. When it comes to cases of disappearing aircraft, one theoretical explanation commonly arises that the crafts are disappearing into wormholes. According to the Scientific American, wormholes are solutions to the Einstein field equations for gravity that act as tunnels, connecting points in space-time in such a way that the trip between the points through the wormhole could take much less time than the trip through normal space. They behave as shortcuts in space-time, and because such notable scientists as Stephen Hawking also entertains that wormholes might be a reality. Those intrigued by unsolved aviation mysteries often contemplate how the theory would apply to various cases of missing aircraft over the years, including many disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle over the Atlantic Ocean. The wormhole theory could possibly explain much of what has transpired for decades, if not centuries, in the Bermuda Triangle. Perhaps the wormhole theory describes the disappearance and reappearance of Santiago Flight 513 more accurately than other incidences, though since the flight actually returned more than 3 decades later, but most disappearances are never resolved. Critics of the Flight 513 story insist that it's nothing more than an urban myth or attempt to sell newspapers. However, there is a cherished place for our science fiction stories. Numerous popular books and movies about time warps, such as Back to the Future or the Philadelphia Experiment. Not to mention, great science fiction TV shows such as Star Trek sparked the imaginations of many future scientists. In so many cases, science fiction has become science fact. Atomic clocks have demonstrated the space-time relationship by showing how time speeds up the further away one moves from the center of the Earth or large masses like mountains. The reduction of gravitational force causes an atomic clock to run quicker. On the contrary, time slows down when traveling at a high speed. Scientists have also confirmed Einstein's theory by observing how the sun warps space by observing light or radio waves bend around it. Some of the most spectacular scientific discoveries in history began with the seeds of wild fantasies and science fiction. Is it really feasible that a transatlantic flight could take off in one generation and disappear for 35 years before it reappears and lands safely with its dead crew aboard. Nobody knows, but within the stories like Flight 513, the imagination is an unbounded playground where one can take that trip through the proverbial wormhole. So, enjoy the journey. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for upcoming videos.